It's not even a secret worldwide chip shortage is causing a havoc in the tech space. Semiconductor is an essential component in many electrical gadgets nowadays, from your computer to your smartphone, to TV, your smart speakers, your consoles, smartwatches, refrigerator, medical equipment, or even your car. Generally, every single electronic nowadays consists semiconductor or chip that needs power. One of the main reasons contributed to the chip shortage caused by, again, is COVID-19. The lockdown and the restriction in the workplace will not make production any faster. You just can't simply ramp up production and say, hey, we need to produce chip in elsewhere, because you simply couldn't. And it's not easy to replicate. Don't think so? Ask Huawei. It will take years before you could replicate chip production for big chip manufacturers like Intel, Samsung, or TSMC. As we all know, during the pandemic, working from home and demand for electronics and demand for chips has never been higher. When work from home requirement causes many individuals to upgrade their equipment, or people who seek entertainment at home will be getting fewer electronics or device. It is reported that big manufacturers like Lenovo and Sony were not able to deliver the sudden surge of demand of its laptops or PS5. And cloud operators needed to be scaling up their facilities when a lot of companies will be needing the services to enable remote working. And it also means that you need a lot of chips to enable this transition. So what does crypto boom has to do with the chip shortage? As it turns out, quite a lot. Miners use GPU for mining operation. Nvidia latest GeForce 3000 series were like a commodity and will quickly snap. Gamers that were looking for latest GPU for the games were not in the best position right now to obtain, and scalpers were found to sell this GPU at a premium. Nvidia addressed this issue by launching Nvidia CMP in addition to GeForce, doing Nvidia words to assist gamers by doing them a favor or giving them to obtain Nvidia GeForce series GPU. But yeah, you know, these big miners has a lot of resources to create custom BIOS by bypassing the NVIDIA limitation, and would take care about CMP. I have my reservation on this demand. Where small miners will most often be the one who will be snapping this CMP card that were missing video output, because all they care is the profit, and I bet they will. When crypto bear happens again, and yes, I said it, crypto will go down like a buff again in the future, or difficulties in mining will grow so difficult again that some of the mining GPU won't be profitable anymore. And if it happens, this CMP GPU will end up in a landfill and more e-waste, just like those N miners. Because it makes sense, no one would want them when the profit from mining is terrible. And let's say 12 months down the road, you could see these small miners will be selling their mining rig for scraps. And in turn, how would it be enough chip in the market? It would be never enough. Less resale market, more chips needed to produce. Nvidia the evil is playing good guys again and record a quite decent profit despite slower sales or slow production for the manufacturers because the pandemic, whereas many other companies were facing slowing sales and profit. Other chips like RAM, SSD were not facing the same issue, at least not as terrible as GPU. It's because of the used market is feeling the needs for PC, as most RAM is still using DDR4 and SSD was still using the same generation, but GPU 3000 series were not using the same generation. And with actually quite good performance game from Nvidia or even AMD Ryzen 5007 series flagship, at a certain extent, demand right now are basically overlapping the supply, thanks again to the crypto boom. Like I said, less chip needed to produce might also mean there is more chip could be supplied to many other industries. Companies like GM were scaling down production because even non-electric vehicle needed chips to power all these electronics in the car, and it's hurting their revenue. Auto market alone is slated to lose around $60 billion on sales alone. Smartphone or console makers like PS5 will definitely be selling less unit because of the chip availability. Scrappers for PS5 is also flooding the market when Sony isn't able to deliver as much PS5 to the consumers and could practically do nothing about it, as it's not illegal for most countries for scalpers to profit from this method. And let's just say it's both bad for the market, for the users, and for the companies, while earning less profit as a result of the chip shortage. Apart from paying more than the retail price for the same product or not able to get the product at all, scammers were on the marketplace like eBay to scam desperate users when there's cases where you're buying a 3080 but what you end up getting is a 2080 from the box. So be very careful. All my advice is just wait until it subsides. If this shortage is prolonged beyond this year, well, even your smartphone like the iPhone will be sure of selling at a higher price, especially when newer smartphone all included 5G chips. And Apple is not going to do a charity, instead of keeping those in the pot happy and satisfied.
China. China
is the leading manufacturer of basically everything for consumers, has always been importing chips from companies like Qualcomm, and Qualcomm chips were actually manufactured by Samsung, but due to trade war restriction on mainly Huawei, it is aimed to be self-sufficient by making their own chip within a couple of years. Trade wars, tariff, and bans is only accelerating the process, as China is not lacking the minerals, yes, those rare earth minerals and materials to produce this chip at the first place. Production is also slowly ramping up right now, that various vaccine for COVID has already enabled many workers back to work. Less infection, more chips. And companies has also started diversifying many production into developing countries like Indonesia, not because China is terrible at its job, but rather too good. But if there's a trade war happening again, production will definitely be affected. So it make perfect sense to move production out of China. My best bet it will last at least until second quarter of this year when production catches up to demand. Meanwhile, the prices that you needed to pay will still go through the roof. And when the production is 100% and there's more supply in the market, then the prices will start to go down too. And also my best guess is if the whole pandemic stays the longer, the shortage will stay longer too. And I hope it doesn't. Thanks for watching, and this is Nerdy Joe. While you're here, do consider subscribe and comment, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. I see you guys in the next one. Peace.